and welcome to the third episode of SoLeadSaturday. I know a lot of you have the curiosity and the excitement to hear back from our third guest, but before we start, actually, I would like to thank all the community members and all my followers to always give me an encouragement to do more and more. So thank you so much, and hope all of you are having the great Thanksgiving weekend. So moving back to our third episode, our next guest, Kunal Jain, founder and CEO of Analytics Vidhya. I know we did not need an introduction more than this because they already have 400k plus community following the Analytics Vidhya and the career path to build a career in the data analytics and data science. So we will just welcome him and let's see what he has to say about all these buzzwords around data analytics, data science, where is the future leading, and how Analytics Vidhya can help people to build their career or pursue their passion in the data analytics. So let's get started and we'll see how it goes.
Hi Vaishali, thanks for inviting me as a guest on your show. It's a pleasure to share my learnings and my insights and my views and perspective with the community over LinkedIn.
So first thing we would like to know that you pursued your education in one of the best schools in India, IIT Bombay, in aerospace engineering, and how did you turn that into your passion towards the analytics or the entrepreneurship side? So we would like to hear more about that.
Great question. So I passed out of IIT Bombay back in 2006, and to be honest, this desire to become an entrepreneur and do something non-conventional was always there in me. I wanted to solve new problems or create business ventures even while I was in college. So in that sense, it was a desire which was always there. But the idea of Analytics Vidhya came when I came back to India after spending 4 years in UK with Capital One. And when I came back to India, I saw that there was no ecosystem of analytics and data science professionals. So as a professional working in analytics industry, I could not ask questions or share my knowledge with anyone else. There was no such platform at that time, and that's where I started Analytics Vidhya. So that desire was always there. It's just that the right idea, the right team was not there, so I didn't start before. But while we were building Analytics Vidhya, everything came together.
Would you like to elaborate on how Analytics Vidhya is helping build the community out there and helping the people who are trying to pursue their career in the data science or already are data science professionals?
So the idea behind Analytics Vidhya is to create a platform which serves every career need and every knowledge need for a data science professional. So if you think about it, the career need or knowledge need for a data science professional starts from learning new tools and techniques on a day-to-day basis. And that's where the blogs, the webinars, the meetups, etc. come into play. So there are a lot of learning resources available on Analytics Vidhya. There are free trainings, there are paid training. So depending on what type of learning you prefer, you would find a lot of resources on Analytics Vidhya. So the first part of a data science professional's journey is to make sure that they learn on a day-to-day basis and they engage in the community. Next, we host a lot of competitions and hackathons and assessments. We recently launched DSAT, which is an adaptive test in data science. And the idea over here is that if you have to learn continuously and grow as a professional, you need to know how good or bad you are in various skills. Where do you stack up against other data science professionals? And that's the compete arm of Analytics Vidhya. And finally, getting hired. So once you've done this, we work with a lot of corporate partners. We help them find the right talent based on the skills. So that's how Analytics Vidhya can help. So whether you want to learn on a daily basis, take a few structured courses, or interact in the community, participate in competitions, or find the right jobs, all of those things are available on Analytics Vidhya. In addition to that, if you are a data science professional, you can come back and contribute to the community and build your brand in that manner. So a lot of leaders come to Analytics Vidhya and share their knowledge because they inherently enjoy that. They enjoy sharing their knowledge, their perspective, and that's how they have been building their brand. So that's how we have built this platform, and that's how Analytics Vidhya can help anyone who is in analytics and data science.
The next question is moreover from my side actually. How do you create the business value while keeping the cost low?
So again, a great question, and it depends on what kind of business you are building. So for Analytics Vidhya, we were very clear from day one that we would run it as a bootstrapped business. And what that meant was that any capital coming into business was coming from my own savings or friends and family. So we had to be very cost conscious from day one. But it really helped in the way we have built the organization. So I think keeping that focus on keeping costs low is very, very important for building sustainable businesses. So for example, even till date, when we travel, we typically stay in low cost hotels. We take early morning flights or late evening flights to make sure that the costs are in check. For a long time, I worked out of home office to again make sure that we are not spending the amount in places we don't need. So being clear on where you would want to spend and where you would want to avoid the spend is very critical. And so that's the part on keeping costs low. On adding business value, I think as long as you're working on exciting problem and you have a great team with you and you give them the right freedom, the business value gets created. So that's what we've been doing. We have a fabulous team at Analytics Vidhya. We keep the costs low, the work is exciting, and then that's where the value comes from.
So the next question is why the name Analytics Vidhya, and are you only going to focus in the analytics, or there are any chances in future that you move towards any other area of a business?
So Vidya in Sanskrit actually means knowledge. Knowledge which has been gained through practice and research. So Analytics Vidhya in that sense essentially represents knowledge about using and applying analytics. So that was the idea or the thought behind creating Analytics Vidhya, and that has stayed till date. So we are still very focused on anything related to data science and use of data to take business decisions. We would continue to be focused on this domain because that's where our strength is, that's where our community is, and that's the domain we understand. So we would continue to stay very focused on analytics and data science and related areas. I do not see ourselves venturing out into unrelated areas.
So third question is what is the story behind the Analytics Vidhya, and what are the changes you can see while it is growing now and then?
So Analytics Vidhya actually started as a blog, and for the first 9 to 12 months I was just running it as a blog, and the idea was to share my learnings with the community. And I'll tell you how it started. So for the first 4 years of my career, I was working with Capital One and their analytics or data science teams, and I learned a lot over there. And I got used to having this ecosystem around me where if I had any question, I could walk up to a person and ask questions and have healthy discussions with them. And then in 2010, I decided to come back to India because I wanted to be in India in long term. So what happened is when I came back to India, this ecosystem which I was used to went missing. And that's where I said that, I'm sure I'm not the only professional who is facing this problem. So let me start sharing my learnings in form of a blog, and that's how Analytics Vidhya started. And for the first 9 to 12 months, I was just running it as a blog. It was only when I'd run it for about a year, I said that this looks like a much bigger opportunity to create an impact and have meaningful work. So I went full time into it after doing it as a side blog for about a year. And over these 5 years after I have started doing this full time, we have converted this personal blog into a community portal where people can come and they can build their own profiles, build their own brands. So today we have more than 400,000 registered users who have participated in various hackathons, competitions. They have got job opportunities. They have participated in various events which we do. They have undergone training. So that's how the ecosystem grew. In terms of the changes which I see, I think the big difference has been in the scale, and once you reach a particular scale, you can't do things in the way you were used to. So as a founder, I was very used to making changes on live site, for example. So if I wanted to change theme or do an experiment, I would do it on the live site and test it out. I can't do that any longer. So there are obvious challenges which come with scale, but so that's a big change in the way we were growing then and now. But having said that, whatever we do even today, community stays at the heart of it, making sure that we help analytics and data science professional in their day-to-day journeys, in their day-to-day work, still remains at the center of what we do.
We know that recently Analytics Vidhya conducted a data hack summit 2019 in Bangalore, India. So we would like to listen quick updates or the highlights from that summit. So would you like to share that?
Thanks for asking that question. Data Hack Summit, for those of you who don't know, is India's largest conference on applied AI and machine learning. So this year when we did Data Hack Summit, we had more than 1,200 people at the venue participating in this 4-day event, so which is essentially 3 days of conference and 1 day of workshops. We had leaders from across the globe, like Eric Weber was there, Terry Singh was there, Dat Tran was there, Dr. Jain, Xander. So a lot of thought leaders from across the globe come and take part in Data Hack Summit. From our community, we did close to 70 sessions, out of which 35 were hack sessions over a period of 3 days. So more than 100 speakers came to the venue, shared their knowledge. It was fabulous to be there. And then the 4th day was workshops on various topics. So we had 8 workshops at Data Hack Summit 2019.
Next question is about guiding the people. So what advice would you like to give to the people who are following the analytics?
So people who are currently undergoing analytics with their career path, I would say that make sure that you follow a discipline. The career path has been created by keeping industry needs in mind. So there are a lot of projects in them, there are a lot of concepts, they have been laid out in a nice manner. So make sure you follow that, because we have done the hard work of taking the right resources, the best resources. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is do it consistently. So make sure that you spend time regularly in the things. Make sure you do the hard work in projects. You do things like data cleaning, data feature engineering in those projects which have been highlighted. And again, as long as you do this, we have seen some phenomenal transformations in journeys of people. So you would get to the right place as long as you do it consistently and you follow the path.
So next question is, do you think that analytics space is getting overcrowded, and what do you think how the future of analytics looks like?
So to be honest, we are still in very early days of analytics and machine learning. The potential is huge. We are just scratching the surfaces. The softwares are just starting to become intelligent. But as humans, or as people get used to having smart softwares around, you will become more and more used to it, and that's where systems will become super smart going forward. So personally, I think analytics and data science is an exciting place to be in, at least for next 5 to 10 years. I don't see that going away. Having said that, people should also realize that it's not for everyone. If you have to do well in analytics and data science, you have to have good quant skills, you have to have problem solving skills, you have to have a lot of curiosity. And there are times when you spend a lot of time looking at data, looking for insights, building features. So it's not easy. You have to have a particular type of skill set. As long as you have that, analytics is very exciting place to be in right now.
This is very interesting question. So how do you see future of knowledge collaboration and education system?
Again, a great question, and personally I'm very very passionate about building the right way or delivering education in the right manner. And I think there is a lot of change which would happen in this particular domain in coming years, just because the way education was being done cannot be sustainable in long term. So education is bound to change. Coming specifically to data science, I think the collaboration between industry and education needs to become much more closer. So people who come out of this education system have to be industry ready. The industry needs to invest into education, and I see a lot of interesting models coming out. So for example, one of the programs which we launched recently is called Data Science Immersive Bootcamp, where we are bringing people as interns from day one. So the way it works is you have 4 days of a week where you work as an intern. There are 2 days where you undergo classroom training. So you are not only learning the subject, you are also applying that as an intern in a real life scenario from day one. So there would be more and more business, models like this which would come out in coming time, and that's where I see innovation and disruption happening in education system.
So our second question is on the same line. Once you realized your passion, what steps did you take to pursue that passion and became an entrepreneur?
If you have to pursue something and do it along with your job, at least for some time, to build the minimum viable product, you will have to put in a lot of discipline and efforts, and that's what I did. So no rocket science over there. So whatever you start, you have to make sure that you do it consistently, you do it in a disciplined manner. So when I started Analytics Vidhya, I was working with Aviva Life Insurance along with my blog Analytics Vidhya, and it was hard to be on schedule to make sure that I would write an article and publish it every few days. So that took a lot of effort, and that's what I would also recommend to people, that if you're planning to start something, make sure that you put that dedicated time. So during this period, there were multiple nights where I would do a long day at office, come back, do office work for Aviva, and then write a blogs. And that's where the difference between who can pursue their passion and who would not be able to comes into play. The second thing which I would say is, what has helped me personally a lot is taking one step at a time. So at no point in this journey of building Analytics Vidhya, I said that, here is the grand vision about building Analytics Vidhya. We took one step at a time. We took what was the right thing to do and the next logical step. So that takes away a lot of pressure, and that takes away a lot of, unwanted stress about entrepreneurship. So do it consistently, take one step at a time, and as long as you're enjoying the journey, it's a fabulous thing.
The next question is actually on kind of trainings available. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of classroom training versus the in-person training, and how do you see it, like, affects the quality of the content?
So again, a great question. So both remote as well as in-person training have their own advantages and disadvantages. So remote provides flexibility, the ability to take those courses as and when where you are, and if you are motivated, if you know what you're looking for, these could be the best courses. So as long as you're motivated, you can carve out this time in disciplined manner and undergo learning, navigate through some of the ambiguity in online world. Remote works fabulously. In-person training works better for people who need more hand-holding, people who want more or who cannot carve out that time on their own, or they feel that they would need a mentor. So in-person works better in that manner. The challenge there is, you cannot have as high penetration as in case of remote, and at the same time the classrooms can only happen on designated time. So both of them have their own pros and cons, and as I said before, I personally think that there would be interesting hybrid models which will come out, and that's where things would move. In terms of how to overcome challenges in course quality, I think there are a lot of reviews now available. Look at what experts are saying, look at what are the industry demands and how people are doing after passing out from those courses. That's the best way to see how good those courses are.
And the last question is, I know that Analytics Vidhya grown rapidly, but what do you do outside of your entrepreneurship or day-to-day work?
I usually spend time with my family. I read a lot, and if not out of these two, I'll just go out, play a sport with some of my friends. So that's what I do usually. Reading and spending time with family ends up taking a lot of time. Thanks for having me over, Vaishali, and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. I know a lot of you did not get answers to your questions because Kunal is traveling, and still he managed to give his time to come on the SoLeadSaturday episode. So thank you so much, Kunal, for your time. And people who still have the questions, please connect to him on LinkedIn. You can just simply follow him, or you can follow his website Analytics Vidhya, or you can subscribe to their newsletter. So what I will do is I will provide all these details in my post, and you can just simply connect, and if you have more questions you can ask him directly. Hope that helps. Thank you so much for watching, and till the time we meet again, happy leading, and let's read together. Bye for now.